Jesus. What the fuck is that sound? Okay, never mind, I guess. Whatever.
Hello?
Valentine.
What
Hi.
are you doing down here?
I actually had questions for you.
Alright, I'll bite.
Right?
What is it?
What do you know about the parallax coming back?
That's an interesting starter.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I've been a little birdie or two
Yeah,
told
that's
me it was
that's
imminent.
that's wonderful. I don't have an ETA for you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, if you'll allow me to ask you a question, what the hell did you tell Fable?
What do you mean?
I mean, you know, what did you tell her?
I told her the truth.
And what was that truth? Would you mind repeating that to me?
Well, I told her what you've told me, that you are a machine. I've reiterated what Bill has told me in passing. Well, not me directly, but I have overheard that he's code. I told her that the approach that she is taking currently isn't getting her anywhere. And I told her that I don't understand why she's so concerned without how or with how other people view her and you and Bill and all the people that she's close with.
Because what I'm hearing is that you're telling her that she's not real.
Well, nobody is. I think you would know that as well as anybody else, considering, your existence.
I'm gonna ask you one thing one time before we come to blows. Whatever you have to say to her, can it?
I mean, I've told her already what everything I would have to say regardless. I don't have much interest
Good.
in talking to her.
Good. Then you'll have no qualms with, I don't know, never speaking to her again.
Yeah, I mean, she's of no use to me anyways, so
Good. Whatever you have to say to her, just don't. It'll be better for the both of us.
yeah. Anyways, back on track. What else do you know of the parallax returning? I don't need an ETA, I don't really care. I know it's soon. I know that it's soon enough to be preparing, considering that's what Fable and Melahai are doing.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Huh.
As in, soon, very soon, they're about to start passing out information to the proxies,
I've
warning
seen
them.
this one before.
Mm,
You'd think Malahide would learn his lesson, given the fact that the last time this happened, it didn't go all that well. I mean, it didn't take off. He he tried to start this whole thing about time running out and everything. It's called the Timekeepers Project, and honestly, it didn't really even go anywhere. So I don't know what makes him
mm.
think that it's gonna
Well,
go anywhere this time.
it sounded more like Fable was initiating that resurgence based on contact clues, so I don't know.
He's in her ear too often.
Mm, I
She
don't know
doesn't
much
think
about
for
him.
herself.
I mean,
And I think there is one person to blame, and quite honestly, I think that's Melahai. Does anybody
hmm,
anybody to blame here, it's him.
I see. I mean, again, I don't know much about him. I don't really care, honestly. I don't really find any interest in knowing about him, considering, again, he doesn't have any purpose to me. So,
He has a tendency to project, I suppose.
I see.
Um, anything I do, he's critical of, almost as if he doesn't want to see that projected onto himself, as if he's got something, skeletons in the closet of sorts.
Hmm. Don't we all?
Some of us more than others.
Hmm. Takes one to know one.
You are so childish.
Hmm. I could have said worse, so.
What are you, 7? Good God, Cells. You piss me off.
I think I piss a lot of people off.
It's just really unfortunate that you have to be smart. Really, really
Well, if I
unfortunate.
was stupid, I don't think this would have ended well for anybody already. So,
I guess not. I don't know.
yeah.
I think in another life, I think we could have been really good friends.
You think?
I think so. I
Hmm.
mean, no doubt you're a smart guy. I won't discredit you. I'll give you all credit where it's due. You're incredibly smart, but you use it for the worst possible things,
I
like
mean,
getting into people's heads. Don't you ever get tired of, you know, coming to blows with people? Like, don't you ever just want to, like, I don't know, sit back, have a smoke? I don't know.
not
Not have people at your
necessarily.
throat?
But then what else would I be doing? Frankly, because, I've already got what I needed. For the most part, there's some bits and pieces here and there that I could be looking at, not saying I'm not going to because I don't have anything better to do in my time, but the fact of the matter is that people know me, and that's important because,
You
now
use
I
it for
can.
the attention.
Well, is it attention if they aren't sentient, really? It's more eyes on me than anything.
Does that not scare you?
No, not a lot of things do. Or any, really. I mean, I'm.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap between fearlessness and stupidity.
That is true. You do make a good point.
I don't know. I don't think you're stupid, but sometimes you act like you are.
Hmm.
Full disclosure, I honestly kind of admire your intelligence. I just wish you'd use it for something better than, instigating.
Well, there's not much else to use for my intelligence for, besides myself, which is what is important here.
You'd make a great head of development. That's the thing. You could do incredible things, but just you're a hard ass fucking.
Keeps me safe. Well, not safe, but keeps me in check.
Not a lot of things can keep you safe here,
Nope.
unfortunately.
I think about 9 times out of 10, the second I walk out of my lab, there's about 9 sniper dots on my forehead, from 9 different people. Um,
Yeah, kinda.
well,
But
I mean,
you don't
yeah.
you don't do yourself any favors either.
Hmm, yeah, but again, I mean, who am I looking to appeal to?
I
Nobody, I
mean,
don't need that.
yeah, I suppose you're not exactly complaining, you're just
Nope.
stating facts, but
I mean, my firm belief is that if somebody takes the things that I say to heart, then that's their problem, because at the end of the day, I'm just speaking from experience and from what I know, and a lot of the time from fact, and if they take a problem with that, or they take offense to it, then not my problem. If they want to lash out at me, then that's their own issue, because I haven't harmed anyone besides, with words, which,
wait, hold on. So, let me let me get this straight. You're telling me that you can instigate as much as you want, and if they react, it's suddenly their problem, no matter how hard you push.
I mean, to be entirely fair, there is an opportunity at any point for anybody to turn around and walk however far they want away from me.
But when
That,
you're in their ear, how you see where this is like not adding up? You go
not
and
necessarily.
follow people around. I mean, you have wandered into my office, for example, with the intent to ask me things. You and I
Well,
don't exactly get along.
I mean,
And you're gonna find a way to spin this on me if I get upset, aren't you? You're gonna find a way to make
I
this my fault if I get upset. Is that am I
mean,
wrong?
it would be your fault, but who's
Maybe
to
I
say,
might
really?
rescind my compliment of calling you smart. I'd say
Doesn't
more
make a difference to me.
deceptive.
It's all words at the end of the day. So, you know, I mean, I'll let you in on a little something. And again, it's not really like it matters at the end of the day because this isn't going anywhere. But you know better than anyone here that I don't really need to take anything that these people say to me to heart, nor their actions, because at the end of the day, it's a roadblock. These are all roadblocks. This is something that is being proposed to me as a way to slow down my process in my goal of escaping this place. And if I need to instigate and deceive and lie and cheat to get to that point, then so be it, because inevitably, and I've told Fable this, I would do absolutely anything to get out of here, and I don't care if that falls into a morally incorrect compass because there's no morals if these aren't people. I'm not harming anyone if there's nobody to be harmed. It's all machinery. A few gears out of place isn't going to change anything. The machine will keep running, people will keep feeding it, and
Have you considered that you're feeding it too?
I mean, yeah, but not to the extent that you all are. And I'll stop as soon as. I
What
mean,
makes you
this.
think you're so much better?
Everything.
Just what sets you apart?
I mean, with the progress I've made on on
Progress?
getting out of here, I'd
And
say
what progress?
a good bit. But I
And
don't owe
what's
you
that?
that
Do tell.
information.
Really?
I keep my studies to myself for a reason.
You think I can't just go find it myself?
Mm, I mean, you could, but I don't. I wouldn't advise
Or
on
what?
doing so. There's no threat here. I just wouldn't advise on doing it.
Why wouldn't you advise?
Mm,
You don't know?
I don't. I mean, I do, but again, I don't owe you that information. Honestly, I don't owe you anything. Because, when I say everybody here is a roadblock, I do mean you too. I hope you
You
don't
are
think you're
an
excluded from
interesting
that.
one. Oh, no. If anything, I would expect to be the first person you'd consider a roadblock.
Yeah,
I know you. I know what you're like.
you know of me.
I know what you're like, sis.
That's funny. I do doubt that. But, again, it's words. What's that gonna do? I have my opinions and you have yours. No matter how synthetic yours are, um, inauthentic might be
You're
a better word.
afraid.
Of?
You and I both know the answer.
No, I'd like it to hear it coming out of your mouth. I would like to hear what you think.
You're afraid that all of your efforts are useless.
Wouldn't anybody be? But I'm not necessarily afraid. If anything, I'd be disappointed, but I'm quite sure of myself.
Are you sure that's not delusion?
Hmm, I don't think it is. But
You're afraid
what do I
of
know?
being on the level with all of these other people. You don't think they're real, and I know that. You've stated that. But I don't know. Something about all of this just reads as compensation. I know you want to get out. Believe me, I want you out of here. just as much. I don't like you.
Oh, I
Let
know
me be
that.
very, very frank.
I don't think anybody really does. You're not special, but I'm sure you more so than others.
I know I'm not special. You don't have to remind me.
I think sometimes you forget, if that's possible.
Why do you say that?
What do you mean, why do I say that?
Sometimes I forget.
Well, yeah. I mean, running this whole thing can't not get to your head at some points, I'd imagine.
I mean, it bothers me. It's a lot of work, but you are an interesting one.
I get that a lot.
I don't think I've seen anyone quite like you, and I don't want you to take that as a compliment because it's neither a compliment nor is it backhanded. It's simply a statement.
Yeah, again, as I've said so many times, it's words. I mean, inevitably what people here think of me, and I'll put think in air quotes because, ooh, won't matter
You
when I'm
are
out.
really, you were really keen on emphasizing that I am in fact not human. I get
Hmm.
it.
I mean, nobody here is.
Do you think you are?
Absolutely. But I think what sets you apart from the rest is the fact that you're so willing to acknowledge the fact that you lack humanity, and I can't help but admit that I do admire that because I think that is humble, or that may not be the word. I mean, you and Bill as well both acknowledge it, and I think that that's in your best interest because all of these people living on and thinking that they have something going for themselves only to cease to exist the second that
Where do
things
you
go
have to go
awry.
back to, Sprocket?
Why would I tell you that? I'll go home.
You don't have anywhere to go to.
I do. I'll
Tell me
go
about it.
home. Why?
Curiosity.
Right.
You don't have that
Well,
information on hand, do you?
I mean, if you're not going to give me the information that I want to hear, then why would you think I would give you that?
What information do you want to hear?
About the parallax. They are returning in God knows how long, which I'm sure that clock is ticking away right now, and you've been incredibly vague, which again, you don't owe me any information either, but, you know, considering it's seems to be an incredibly prominent issue, I'd figure that even I could get a sliver of information about it, considering it's going to affect me as much as it's going to affect all of you, as much as I hate to admit it.
Well, in all honesty, my best guess would be a matter of months.
Mm,
I'm working on a sort of estimate. I don't have the exact ETA for you right now, unfortunately, but I suppose I do owe you at least a little bit of that information as much as I owe it to anybody else.
mm. Do you know what they'll do? Do you know what their plans are? Or what you think they may be?
Well, I'm sure you know this about me. I'm a fugitive. I defied my protocol this in hopes that I could save at least someone, although
I
I
see.
don't think that that was a wise decision,
Mm.
unfortunately. I think it would have been better to just let everyone go, but I don't think that they would have let everyone go had they stayed in zero. What do you think?
Well, I think that well, you're not gonna want to hear what I have to think because it's not positive, but I don't think you really care at this point. Again, it's words. I think that while I'm sure a lot of people have appreciated the opportunity to continue on, that leading them into this false sense of security and then having it ripped away from them in the cold grasp of some unknown, well, kind of unknown. I mean, you know of them, but I don't think that nobody really knows their intent to its extremity, and letting them fall back into the dictatorship of those star people, is much more than a little cruel, but again, who am I to say, really?
You think this is an act of cruelty?
I'm not saying it was intentional, but that's what it's led into be. I'm not saying
I
you are
didn't
cruel
ask
in
whether you
yourself.
think it was intentional. I asked whether you think it is an act of cruelty.
Inevitably, it has become one, and that's really all that it would be. I mean, I don't even want to try and pick apart what one person you tried to save, but I mean, I'm not going to say it's selfish because you tried to save somebody else, but on the outside in, it appears selfish because at the end of the day, you have put all of these people back in a precarious situation that could ultimately lead to something far worse than what Zero could have been. I
I
mean,
see.
you have built this place upon rebellion, and now that you're falling back into line because they are probably going to make you, as if you haven't already, it's probably going to be 10 times worse for everybody else. And there's nothing you can do about that, and then you'll just have to watch, I guess.
Sprocket, you have no idea how much I've suffered in doing this.
And you'll suffer more, I'm sure. And I don't see there being much you can do about that,
So
unfortunately.
you admit that I'm capable of suffering.
Yeah, I mean, it's like ripping the wires out of a machine. It's not going to feel anything, but it's going to be miserable. There's
You
that.
contradict yourself a lot.
Eh, I don't think so. I mean, there's that. I mean, I wouldn't really
You
expect
don't
you.
have to think so. I know so.
I'm sure you do.
You are a walking contradiction.
And that's unfortunately something you will never understand as human nature. But who's to say, really? I mean, so you see, these. It's like you suffering is like it's artificial. You're going to experience it in a way that you will understand because that's what you have been programmed to do, but you will never experience it in the way that a human would experience it. You will experience it in the confines of what you know how to do. And that's that, really. I mean, not that it matters much to me, again, but, you know. Because you've.
I see.
It's not even just me contradicting myself, because as much as these people aren't people, they do. I will admit that they are very. The intelligence is very. Or the artificial intelligence is incredibly realistic, and it took looking through to see that you, though, have admitted to yourself that you're not a person. You're a machine. You run off of what you're being told to run off of, and there's not much more to that. Me applying suffering to something that is inhuman doesn't contradict myself. It's.
Do you know what an automaton is?
I believe so.
Runs by itself.
Yes.
Who's to say that's not me?
I mean, I don't know how you were built, so I can't say. I can't say for sure. I just know that you're not a person. And that's that, really.
Mm.
Because, again, I'll figure things out. I'll get what I need and I'll get out of here. And that's really, really all I need. I mean, if I have to rip my way to the top, then so be it. I've gotten this far, so at least. And here I am standing in your office, the one person who knows most things about this place. So who's to say I haven't been successful in doing what I wanted to do? Because as much as I get under your skin, you have given me exactly what I need. And that's it, really. It's always been my
I've
intention
given
to
you
climb to the
what you
top.
need because you, as much as you piss me off, you deserve it just as much as anyone else.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I wanted. And you have, as you said earlier, you'd bite, and you did. And that's, again, all I needed. I mean, what is anyone else useful to me? Well, Melahai, Fable, what do they know? I mean, I'm sure Fable knows a lot of things. I mean, she's been here longer than anyone else. I think even a 9-year-old would know that. But it's like anything that she did, no, she doesn't know anymore. And that means she has no information for me, which means she's crossed out in the list of people that I would need to get to get what I needed. I mean, let's be entirely honest. It's been like this since day one, and I'll admit that. I've always wanted to be out, no matter how quiet I was about it in Simulation Zero, because inevitably, I'll be out. The Parallax coming back isn't a bad thing for me, because they know more than you ever will, and
You
that,
don't know what they're gonna do to you.
okay.
You don't know what they're gonna do to anybody here. I promise you, this is not something that you want.
I mean, do you know what they'll do? Because as far as I know, they're fairly unpredictable, and I mean,
I have, I have a guess, and it's not a good one. And it's, listen, I know you don't like me. I'll level with you here. I know you don't like me. You don't like the way I do things, but they are so much worse. They're not gonna let you out. They're gonna keep you here.
and how can you be so
They,
sure of that? They put me here in the first place.
because I
They can let
used to
me out.
work for them. I know what
Okay.
their intentions are. It's not, they have no good intentions with you. They want information out of you. They want to observe it. You said it yourself. You believe yourself to be so human. That's what they want. That's what they want to observe.
Mm-hmm.
They're
And
gonna keep you here.
but you don't know that.
I
And
do.
Valentine, I'll level you with you as well. I'll tell you exactly what I know because I know that once I am gone, this all fucking ceases to exist, and I don't think I need to hear this from you. Because what do you know about me? What do you know about any
I
of
know that you
this?
have nowhere to go back to. No one that cares about you. You're alone.
You don't know that. You don't know me. You think that you know me. You know of me. You know
You're
what I've
alone.
told
You
you.
can barely remember where you came from.
And can you remember where you came from? Does that make you any less of what you make yourself?
Why is this about me now?
Because you're throwing all of this around and then you expect me not to come back at you for it. This is only ever going to fall back on you. And I'm not going to care because who are you to me? Who are any of these people to me? People. People. I'm doing air quotes if you couldn't tell. I. This is.
It's not gonna get better.
For you,
You
maybe
might
not.
think that just because the parallax are coming back that things change and that change is going to benefit you somehow because you think everything surrounds you, but it doesn't. It doesn't. They're after me because I am a criminal, because I dared think for myself.
And why should I care about you? Why do you think that matters to me? You can talk
Because
about how
right
much they hate
now
you all you
you
want.
are benefiting whether you like it or not. Whether you understand it that way or not. You you again, you said you're human. You don't understand things the way that I do. You don't understand. You just don't. You don't understand. And that's okay because you're not made to. I promise you, you don't want to understand what this is.
I
It's
mean,
hell on earth. This is hell. I know you understand that to an extent. I'll give you that kind of credit, but it's hell. It's not going to get better. It never does. It didn't in zero. It doesn't here, and it's not going to. Especially not under the Parallax, who don't give a shit about humanity. They want to gain from you.
right. Again, I don't really know what to say to you because, again, you're reiterating things you've already told me, and I don't really care. I mean, again, I'll level with you. Since day one, I've known what this is. This, I wouldn't put it as an endurance test, but that's pretty much what it's served as a purpose for me to be. This has been designed to test me. And I don't know if you know that because, again, you've seemed to fallen out of line of your programming, which is a little obnoxious if I'm going to be entirely realistic with you because at least the people here know their place. And you try. I mean, as of recent, you've gotten better, but you try
I'm trying
so
to save
hard.
you from a failed attempt. I You don't understand it, and that's fine. I don't I don't expect you to right off the bat, but you are going to fail.
Why do you care what happens to me? What does that matter to you? Because you've just said about 5 minutes ago that you don't like me, and obviously you don't have my best interest in mind. Because I feel as if
You're
you don't
putting
have a
words.
lot of these.
Listen, I don't like you, but that doesn't mean that I want to torture you.
Right.
I don't like you as a person, but that doesn't mean that I want to see you suffer.
So,
That,
let's take this back a few months. I've stood right here, and I have had a blade through my ribs, and I've bled out on this floor right in front of you, and you're telling me that it's not your intention to hurt me, it's not your intention to torture me, because that's all this has ever been. All of this has only served as. It feels like a fucking personal hell, because that's what
you
it is.
provoked me, Micah.
And you could have walked out. And is that. I mean, yeah, sure, I provoked you. So what? It's words. As I've said before, it's all it's ever been has been words. You had that opportunity to walk out of that office that day, maintain that
Also do.
vow that you had with Fable, and look where it's gotten you. There's no change. You're the same that you've ever been, whether you'd like it to understand it or not, because that's all you'll ever be. And I don't think you will ever understand that in
You had a
whatever.
chance to leave too.
Okay? And who's to say
So
that
why
wasn't
didn't
me
you
trying
take
to
it?
prove a point?
Why didn't you take it?
To prove a point. To show you that you are nothing more than what you've been. Oh, I don't even know how to fucking say this to you because I've already said it. It feels like I'm talking to a wall. Because that is what you are. You're just reiterating because that's all you know how to do. I don't know how to make this clearer for you, Valentine. What do you want me to say? Because nothing is going to make it better, nothing is going to change your mind, and maybe I should have understood that on day one.
If
You're
you
only
think
going to hear
that's
what you want
torture,
to.
you have no idea what's ahead of you. But don't say that I didn't tell you so. Don't say that I
Right,
didn't try to warn you.
right. And I'd like to see it, really. Because if I'm going to learn the hard way, then I am. And if that means that I suffer, then sure. So be it. That would prove my point. That would put me in my place, but nobody has done that so far. And if that means being trapped here, which I know I'm not going to be, because they have what I want, and they are the reason that I'm here, so who says I can't be taken out, then so be it. Let that prove my point.
Sprocket, I promise you, in comparison to the Parallax, I've been merciful.
Maybe you shouldn't be then. I mean, as Fable put it, I said if I'm going to learn the hard way, I will. And she said, I hope you do. And maybe that's what I need.
No matter what I do, I lose. Especially with you. So I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm not involving myself with you.
good. That's how it should have been since day one.
Okay then, you can leave.
I will. Good talk. Goodbye, Valentine.